Welcome to Between the Poles, the podcast where we dive deep into the heart of the pole community. I'm your host, Caroline. Here, it's not just about the tricks and the spin, it's about the stories, the people, and the connection that make our community so special. Every episode, we sit down with pole artists, studio owners, and inspiring members of the community to talk about their journeys, challenges, and passions. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get real. This is Between the Poles. Hi, Marion. Welcome to Between the Pole. I'm so excited to have you on today. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on. I'm excited for our viewers and our listeners to get to know you a little bit better. Can you tell us by what name you go on Instagram or any other social media platforms?
So, first of all, thank you so much. I'm super excited to be sharing with you today. And I am not very original. My name on Instagram and all the social media and whatever, it's Marion Crampe, like my name when I came to this human experience. And I didn't change. Many times I ask myself why, because for traveling, it would make my life easier to have a nickname. I really jealous all my friends that they had the idea, and now their Instagram is one persona, and their ongoing life every day is it's their normal name. But that's the case. But so many people ask me once, well, actually it happens many times. So if Marion Crampe is your stage name, what is your real name? And I'm like, if I had to choose a stage name, I will not have choose Marion Crampe. What the fuck?
That is a all right. I love to start this podcast the same way for everybody, and I will give this disclaimer to our viewers and our listeners. I'm not sure if you're aware of, but I usually send the guests questions before I sit down with them, just so that they have an idea of like kind of the direction of the podcast. Marion is doing all of this with no idea, like did not read questions ahead of time or anything like that. So you get the most authentic self. I ask a question to all the guests when they come on. Can you tell us a little bit how you got into pole, how long ago it was, what brought you to pole, and just a little bit of like kind of what your journey through that was?
Okay, so I'm going to make a long story short because it's a story of over almost 19 years
Wow.
now. So I'm going to make it short, which is hard. I love podcasts. I listen a lot of podcasts over 2 hours.
We love
So I came to pole dancing. I will pass on. I always love pole dancing, like dancing, like a normal dancing, anything dancing can be, moving, let's say. Not particular one style, but I try many style. And when I was young, many people have tell me that I was not good enough. But I was convinced since my very, very young age that no worry, check it out. So I believe in myself. I took classes, even like I was not encouraged for. And then eventually, fast forwarding, I graduate school in the sports landscape. And I was like having some good friends. And one of them told me, would you like to come to this strip club in Paris? It's called the Pink Paradise. It used to be owned by the Guetta. Maybe people know David Guetta and all this music. And so it was a strip club, and they were offering classes to dance like the stripper. And I was like, fabulous, let's do it. So we went there, and I took my first class, and it was during the daytime. So you enjoyed the place that was super beautiful inside, like the decoration and everything was making you feel like a queen. And I adored it. I couldn't do much, literally, but I was like, okay, it seems like there's something here, and almost like, okay, on the ground, I am a bit stuck. Maybe I need to fly, and why not pole dancing? And I never stopped. And it's over 19 years, and I'm super in love, still passionate. Um, it doesn't, like now I do, we will come to this, I do many other things. I'm a very multiple artist or being. I'm doing many things, but I pole dance. Sometimes people say, "Oh, you didn't post a video since a long time. Did you stop pole dancing?" It's not because I don't show everything that I don't do, you
Yeah.
know?
So you started pole 19 years ago.
Almost, yeah.
Okay. I have a lot of questions. I'm really curious as a person in general. Okay. One, you said that you graduated school with like a sports background. What
Yeah.
sports were that?
So it's a sport university. My specialty was sport for people with multi-capacity. Some people call that disability. I don't like. I'm very picky with my words. I think it's multi-capacity is your superpower. So I graduated with this, and I went to work in a center for young adults dealing with different discapacity. And but I was very young too, and maybe inexperienced, so it was a bit like rough. And I, at the same time, I graduate also in the fitness, which was like a state diploma that I took, and I became fitness trainer also on the side of this. And then I went, because on fitness I was in Paris, and I was like giving classes for a large amount of humans screaming on stage and kind of making the show. So I was like, I think I like this. I really like this, and it's really close to what I wanted to do. So it's kind of dancing, moving, and having an audience, and I really love it. I really love since I'm young. So I'm like, okay, I will do the rest later. And anyway, I have a luggage of this because no matter what, we all have multi capacities or and disabilities, no matter who we are. And so I'm going to use it as a tool, but it's not going to be my job. So I
Okay.
have this as a luggage, like as a book that I have in my thing, and I'm going to do many other things.
You
So
know
this
what?
is how.
I was going to say, you know what I'm really interested about too? A lot of the guests I've had on, we now notice that they have been polling for longer, right? Because we look online and we see what people are able to do, and I'm like, oh my God, that person. But we forget how many years of training goes into you being at where you're at right now, right? You,
Mm,
let's say about 19 years ago, right? And I haven't had a guest from France yet, that has started that long ago. Can you tell us a little bit, like, what was the pole fitness, pole dancing, kind of community like back then? Where,
mm.
who was your instructor? What did they teach you? Like, how was it?
Okay. So different things I would like to jump on. First of all, I do not very agree with what you say in the fact like, oh, now we see people doing crazy things and we forget how many years. It's a bit now with like the social media, it's a bit not very anymore the case because now people in 6 months they can be world champion.
Yeah.
So it there it's not on the skills at least, but what is the difference is the experience. And this as a like consuming of art, I can see if somebody learn in 6 months and somebody that has 25 years of experience. You can see the difference on the presence, the persona, the charisma. It's different. You cannot buy experience of life. You need to go through it. So this is my first little things that I want to tap in. The second thing is about what was pole, because pole dancing to me is not pole fitness. It's pole dancing, and it's very important for me because I'm first very very attached to give the credit and the legacy to the sex workers. because I have taken myself my first class in a strip club. Okay. And so the teacher at that time that teach me my first class was Laurence Ilsam. She's a French Lolo. She's Lolo Ilsam. She has many big studio in Paris, and she's also one of the pioneer of that generation in France. But then eventually I stay in this school. I start to teach because I have my background of fitness, so I could make entertainment around the pole, let's say. But I didn't have the knowledge yet. But at that time, you had to entertain spinning around the pole or turning around, stepping around the pole. And eventually, a woman from Australia, which I will just use her nickname, which is Liana. And she's not very known, but she's a friend of Bobby's. She's the same generation of Bobby Polden Studio and all those women. And they have all stripped together in Australia back then. And so she was a queen of strippers. And I learned most of my foundation of pole with her. And I went to Australia eventually one day, and I saw her on stage, and she was like performing. Her strips were during 15, 20 minutes. People were coming just to watch her perform, like costume, and everything was so meticulously chosen. I still have some costume of her because she offered to me some piece of her things to keep as like a museum, you know. I never want to use it because I'm like, I'm going to break them, you know. It's so important to me. But it was absolutely like magnificent to learn from her and to learn the experience and all those women. So that was my first foundation thing. And it was, we were few people. So it was Doris Arnold, that maybe you know. It was Prana, Ovid Etienne. It was also Manuela Carnero. And before us, it was a generation, Mariana Bon, that she organized all the first event in pole dancing in France. It was a generation even before us. And, but many of us have received or were stripper before. Okay. And it's nowadays, especially when people come and they don't know who those people I'm mentioning are, it's a bit getting lost, and they are like coming to gymnastic pole dance, came from gymnastic, from circus, from whatever, with forgetting this very important part of the journey, which is the sex workers.
I do agree. And I feel because I haven't been pulling a long time, right? And I was really lucky that I started pulling in a studio that acknowledged what the root of pull was. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the more choreo style classes were taught by strippers, which I really enjoyed as well. I kind of, maybe you have an opinion on this too, right? I I try to use as often as possible on this podcast pole dancing and pole fitness. And I do that because I feel like nowadays there's kind of two groups of people that I kind of see coming to my studio. I see people coming from the clubs and all that, wanting to refine their art and get like practice in and stuff like that. And I see other people coming maybe from more of like a gymnastic background or a cheerleading background and like kind of that. And they're really in it for the fitness aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And then as long as they know where pole comes from and they're mindful of that and they're accepting of that, then I'm
Mm-hmm.
fine with everybody taking pole, right? But then
Yes.
somebody once told me, you know what? I started pole from like a fitness background and I want to acknowledge that because I don't want that route to be away either. So
Mm-hmm.
I try to
Of
just
course.
and I try to use pole dance and pole fitness, and I'm not sure how everybody feels about that. But I think you're right. As long as they know where it comes from and
Exactly. Do whatever fuck you want. But to be honest, like, you know, this thing with putting a label on things is like it's make me so tired. Like I think like respect the like or cultivate yourself on the things you don't know. And the rest, whatever you want to call it, but don't bother others, you know, and respect really like, especially in this time of now, like the with appropriation, cultural appropriation, all those things, it's so important, and we know it's so important, especially in our community, that we have been, you know, I always say that to people when I explain what is about pole dancing community. We have been, and I say we, but many generations before me and before my mind, it was Fonia, it was Bobby's, it was everybody in UK, that they have in Canada, they have, you know, like really worked so hard because we were not dancer. Dance didn't want us. We were not circus performer. We were not gymnastic. But we were not like, so none of the community existing kind of wanted us, and now everybody want to be with us. Now the I see the Federation of Dance want pole dancing, the federation. I'm like, you know, okay, cool. But what I explain is like, because we had nobody wanted to have us associated to us, I mean pole dancer, we had to build this powerful community within. And especially at first, guided by women. It's one of the community, it was, the men came after. It was women, leaders were women. And so I think it created this kind of course there is dramas, but welcome to human life, you know. It's not only because it's women, but there is this sorority so strong, that in the acceptance of nobody, no matter who you are, no matter your body shape, no matter what you want to do and how you want to express, but come and join and reinforce this community. So this is what a very important fact that I'm still so passionate about it, and community is very important. I remember forever at the last Pole Expo, someone was doing a reportage asking, everybody was there at that time. It was a beautiful time when we were doing Pole Expo. And he was asking, what is what is pole dancing to you? And I would say 95% of people say the community. I cried when I heard the result of this interview, because it was exactly this. Few people were saying, because I can do a Rainbow Marchenko, because I can go on stage. No, they were saying the community.
Tend to agree. I feel like I've only really encountered pole in the last couple of years, but the community is what keeps me coming back. It's such an uplifting and tight-knit community where
Yes,
everybody is welcome. And
yes,
yeah, it is amazing. I feel like as just human beings to feel that from such,
exactly.
yeah.
So we don't need like, if you want to do fitness, do fitness. If it makes your boom boom look better, cool. If the other one want to touch her patatina, cool. You know, who cares?
Yeah.
This is exactly why, you know, people like, when I go to performance and everything, they're like, oh my God, you were always Swarovski. And my friend, I choose this art performance to have feather in my ass. Of course, otherwise I would do something else.
I love that, Marion. That's amazing.
Of course, I will go to the gym and, you know, but maybe at the gym I will wear feather in my ass, not either, but.
Okay, I want to ask you something too, because you have quite a large social media following.
Mhm.
I'm sure it kind of built up through the years and stuff like that. I kind of want to ask two questions on that category. One, when did you start putting time into social media? Do you feel like you put time in social media? What is that about? And then two, because you were in the pole community before social media even was there, how do you feel it impacted the community? And do you see a big mind shift in the community with the before social media and the after social media?
Okay. Um, so the first question, because I have a tendency to to go everywhere. So the first question, when did I dedicate time? This what you saw, I didn't plan anything. I'm very bad at, I don't know, whatever the rules of algorithm. And actually, right now, to be honest, nowadays my number decrease because I don't follow the trend.
Hmm.
And so therefore, then it goes down because if you don't follow the trend, then they're like, okay, bye bye. So, but it happens naturally, actually. I never put time because of course, I spend time on my phone like everybody nowadays, but I don't dedicate time to strategy and ta 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 ta. What I post for me, it's very written on my Instagram, for example, is a museum of my journey. So in this place, because it's my own exhibition, I put what the fuck I want. And if it's pole dancing, and if it's no pole dancing for 1 month, you will have no pole dancing for 1 month. Because I also free dive. I also take a lot of, I model for photographer. I do also other stuff, like many other things, Pole dancing is not defining only me. I'm many things. I'm many. I don't have a label because sometimes people say, "Oh, now you do free diving, so you don't pole dance anymore." I'm like, why should that be only one thing?
Yeah, they're not like, not because you do.
Exactly. So I never really look for this because it's a choice. I understand that some people that made it a business, I could maybe use it more and maybe make it more profitable, but it didn't attract me. So I don't think it's right or wrong. I think I'm really admiring people that they can make a living out of it. But I'm very in love with my freedom.
Hmm.
And I feel, because I have talked to so many influencers, not even in the pole industry, because this thing, it follows you everywhere. It's even maybe crazier than a job when you go to your office, because when you go home, c'est fini. It's the end. But this is always with you. So you are constantly dependent on like the pressure of posting, of that you probably sometimes put on yourself by yourself, nobody else.
Do
So
you
I don't have this.
do you feel maybe that some of people that pole dance and like have big social media presence, do you feel maybe they're kind of prisoner of it? Because then they end up having to kind of, like you said a little bit, they have to keep on trend and maybe post what they feel their audience wants out of them
But
more than what they would post naturally as an artist?
well, I don't think. I just have friends that I have shared, and I have shared publicly this pressure. So I guess yes. And also some friends of mine have shared with me some of that thing. So I guess yes, but it also can be. I think your words are your experience, and also if you are, let's say, in a country that is quite safe for you, like you have luxury, or I don't know if it's luxury, the gratitude to have health, to have a home, to have all the rest. It's term of choice. So you can choose to follow those things, follow the trend without feeling prisoner. Some people find it super cool, super exciting. And I don't think if I would choose to do it, I would not feel like, oh my God, I have to do. No, I would feel, yeah, okay, how this can work. If I really dive into it, I will take it as a challenge, not as a. So I'm sure so many people enjoy it and they're good at it. So it doesn't have to be, because it's trendy now to say also, you see, this word is very interesting, to say, oh, I'm prisoner of, or this person must be prisoner of this. And maybe not. Maybe she just excite her to create content. I have talked, for example, with my dear friend Cami Arboles, that you maybe know or you should receive in your podcast. She's an amazing human. And it's actually her job. She's a content creator. And I adore to exchange with her because it's fascinating. She's not pressure at all, at least. And we share we are very connected. So we share very sincerely, I think. It's a game, it's a job, it's a motivational thing. And yeah, I think it can be totally. It just, you have to understand if it makes you happy or not. And, but not feeling pressure of it. But I think you can make it enjoyable for sure. Because, it's personally, when I train like I perform. I train like everybody's watching. So even when I do my video, I don't think about, I have to do it this way for this video. No, I have to do it this way because this is the way I train. I train like the fucking, like even when I train downstairs in my living room, my neighbors live in front. I'm like, imagine they're watching you.
I love that.
Which they probably do because he's
The
happy. Sometimes
confidence with that,
he come
right?
and have a cigarette in the balcony sometimes.
I have
So,
another question
so
for
I want to perform. Why not? I'm delivering him performance.
and you know what, Marion? I have another question for you because I feel you've touched up a little bit on it, but like I want to touch up a little bit more about like the showmanship and the stage presence, which I feel you really have. And there's like a lot of process through it. And I've had a lot of guests on, and I usually kind of always ask more about like fitness and right. I want to know with you, how did you get to the point of having that much showmanship, of the thought process behind your pieces and the art that you create and that you post
Mm.
and you perform? How do you take that into account while you're building routines and all of that?
So, um, very interesting question. Thank you. I appreciate your words. Um, so the thing is, like, I'm constantly learning, and right now I just a competition in Latvia last week, and this week I'm having a lot of performers getting back to me, and I'm doing consultation for the performance. And I don't want to do in between two doors. I take 1 hour, we commit, we sit down, we have a phone video call. I will watch the video, I review my sheets, and I give feedback based on the technical sheets and also on my personal subjective experience as an artist. So it's very important for me to tell them I'm not there and probably will never be there yet. I'm constantly researching on myself because I'm constantly evolving as a human being. And one thing that is sure, for many years, my way, and even still now, I know something in my performance that is, I'm very disciplined person. I like structure because it's the base of my freedom. And those are not my word, it's the word of a ballerina, prima ballerina in France. And she explained that very well, that the discipline is the base of freedom. And I have discipline tattoo on my back, therefore. Because it gives me the structure to be able to be supple around it. What I mean by that, for example, if I decide, this is very new to me, to freestyle. Yes, I will freestyle, but my music, I know it so well that I could write it. Or the tricks that I know I will place, I have trained them so deeply that I'm so secure in it that I can play around them. So I have some tip point of my structure that they are like foundationally solid, and that allow me to be free, to freestyle, and mostly to be present. Therefore, to be stage present. And also I'm learning, all the time. Like right now, I'm doing a performance with dervish artist. Is the Turkish dervish dancer. Zia Zazi. We have a duet of 1 hour and 15 minutes. And it's a very deep story. It's called Pieta 2.0. You can read a bit more on this. We have an Instagram about that. And he's over 50 years old performer and so much experience, almost 35 years of experience. And he always tell me, Marion, less showing off, more being. People know you can do this. You can twist in two pieces your body. Now it's time to be. And it's so hard. At the same time, it seems so easy. And I used this thing that he shared with me. He said, the day you achieve it, and he's one of his teachers that told him, is when you can step on stage, walk to the audience, the music go, you look at them, and they just stand, even if you did nothing, just from your presence. He said, that day, we talk.
That's amazing. That's really deep too.
Yeah, but it's the truth. Like, how much can you be present that you don't have to do anything?
I have a question for you, and maybe this is going to sound stupid. When you perform, no matter the art form, because you are somebody who's multi-talented and you do a lot, right? When you perform and you put something together, would you say that you're putting something together for what it makes you feel? Or are you putting something together for what you're trying to make the audience feel and what you're trying to get them to kind of follow along? Do you know what I mean?
And that's exactly the tricky point. It's like, first of all, I'm going to take the little freedom to tell you, your words are your experience. Your question is absolutely nothing, neither stupid. It's beautiful. And so I think for many years I had, and I think I thanks myself to have been through this, and it happens to so many people. And I think, yes, go in it, dive in it, float in it, soak in it, to be a pleaser, to please the audience, what they want to see, what they want to know, what they're gonna think about me. And then eventually, I also perform a lot for a non-pole dancing audience. Let's call, because we talk about pole dancing, okay, today. And they don't know anything about pole dancing. Most of the time, and I'm not going to be the first one to say, they don't clap for what you think is the hardest.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then eventually I also perform other discipline and art. And I dive more deeper into also knowing myself, discovering more of myself. And I realize, okay, why did you do this at first? Because it makes you feel. And if you feel, eventually we are human, so we resonate to each other. So they feel, and so you feel, and so it works. If you work only for make them feel, if they don't feel, you don't feel, and nobody feels. C'est la merde. It's shit, yeah? So you need to feel first in order to feel. When you feel upset, sometimes others feel upset too. So then resonance, yeah? But you can also choose, for example, some performance, I go so deep in trance, especially more I go in my journey, more I experience trance. And I forget about the audience. But then they were like, what was that? And I'm like, what? They felt that I was in another galaxy. And then eventually some traveled to the other galaxy with me. And you don't have to do many acrobatico for that.
Can I ask you as well? Because we all evolve as people, right? And you've been doing different art forms for a long time right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a point where you're like, you know what? Maybe I lack a little bit in something, and then you kind of focused on that. If you kind of reflect on your journey, was there any really big turning points for you as a performer, as an artist that you feel like really impacted where you are?
Mm. I think it's meeting different people. And there is not one specific moment. I think I have been so blessed to have this journey, floating on this journey and meeting like guides that they were like, okay. And then another one was taking the over, okay. And then, okay. And sometimes was okay, like, okay, okay. It was a slap in my face, but it was bringing me there. Yes. And some people, of course, maybe have had an impact more in a more harsh way than others, but it's not about them. It's about how I received their words at that moment of my journey, because maybe I was not mature enough to receive that kind of feedback. And I took it like, oh, fuck you. Eh? And the other one was making me mostly, I was not this kind of fuck you. Now I would be more like this. Before I was like crying, depressed, and blah. But then eventually I have this thing inside me since I'm very young. I'm like, but watch out. And I think about one person in particular, which I will not name, but she has said me very harsh word one day she came to see me perform, and I really admire her. And I told her years later, because I have done a podcast with her. It was very interesting. She invited me to her podcast. And I remember forever that day, because it served me, but at that time it really, really was painful. Your words were very painful. And at least the way I was in my position, my body at that time, it was in my mind, was very, very damaging. But eventually it gave me so much strength and to keep going. And today I'm here talking to you, and you invited me. And the words she has to introduce me for the podcast, I was like, voila, this is the journey.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's amazing. And then, like, okay, I'm not even sure how to ask this question, but because I hate saying, okay, like, what's next? Because you don't have to be chasing to, like, what's next. But for you right now, where do you see kind of your journey taking you?
If you know, don't tell me.
That's the perfect answer. That's amazing.
I don't want to know. So if you want to know my little late fantasia, besides hanging by my hair, swimming in the water, like dancing in the water, I start singing lesson.
Hmm.
So, and I'm soon gonna start makeup lesson. And people are like, why? You wanna be a singer? Why you gonna be a... No, I just want to try. I have the opportunity, or I create that opportunity for myself. I don't have the opportunity. I go for it. You know, I'm 42 years old. I'm free. Sorry. Let me correct that. The English for that is the worst of the worst, because I'm 42 years young.
Yes, and for people that don't know, we don't really say that in French. You don't.
No, in French we say how many years you have.
Yes, I've noticed that too when I started learning how to speak English. I was like, it makes me feel like we're slowly like running out of time, like you're just getting old. And I'm
It
like,
makes me feel nothing. It makes me feel this word is wrong. That's it. So
yeah,
I'm 42 years old, young, and I feel, you know, like I'm conscious that I it's there is like, of course, physical that gonna maturate and eventually, but I'm maturate. I like to say I'm maturating. I'm not aging. Yeah, I'm aging, of course. I have this absolutely gratitude to age, but it's a maturation. It's getting like more tasty. And at 42, I'm like, I was telling my mom the other day, wow, I'm so young. And she's like, dude, I'm 69 and I'm young. And I'm like, okay. So
Feels
it's a state of mind. And just to finish with this, um, I want to explore. I want to explore, and I go for the things. For example, I was talking with my husband. He just last year he quit his job. He had a normal, steady job, and he quit everything. He has his own company to be. He paints for many years, and maybe if you watch my dance in my living room or whatever, it's the painting is my husband's art, and I told him, David, go for it, risk it. We don't have we choose to not have a child, so we have nobody that we are responsible, which is different topic when you have a responsibility of another human being, but we have each other. We are so far healthy. We have like people that are there to help. I'm here for you. Go, jump. So it took here many years, and he did decide to jump, and now he's experiencing what it is to be in the fucking unknown. So it's not always pleasant, yeah, but it's part of the process. It took me 20 years, and I'm still not there, almost. So a year is nothing. It's like you're just an embryo, not even, you know. So it takes time, but you need to risk it. It's now, because otherwise you're gonna be like at the moment of going to the next chapter, what we call death, and you will be like, fuck, if I had to, if I had done it, if I have tried it, how it would have been. At least you try. You know, I want to perform for this show. I write them. Hey, I would love to perform for you. And they're like, maybe yes, maybe they're like, no, thank you. And I'm like, okay, next. But at least I have tried.
I love that. And that's kind of what I've been telling a little bit of people as well, because a lot of people ask me, like, why did you start the podcast? I was like, why not? Why not? And they're like, how are you going to have people on? I'm like, I don't know. I'll just ask them. I'll just reach out and I'll ask them. And yeah, somebody's going to say no. Best case, they say yes. And then I get to meet incredible people that have different experience, and I get to
Mm,
ask questions that like really resonate with me, and then I get to like have different point of views, I guess, because everybody
mm,
from a different background. But then that's what I keep telling, because I own a pole studio, and I have a
mm.
lot of students, and a lot of my students are younger, are in like early 20s, I would say. And I feel there's kind of an anxiety, and I get to like speak with them and like just feel a lot of them are like, they don't know what they're gonna do with their life. I'm like, I don't either, right? You don't have to have the answer. I'm
Yeah,
like,
but they say this is society saying even when we were young, what you gonna do? How the fuck I know?
yeah, but I guess there's, I feel like some of them also kind of carry a pressure that they should know by like 21, 22. And I'm like, you're not who I was at 22 is not who I'm now in my 30s, right? It's
Yeah,
just,
but it's easy to say when you are here and now.
but
But we
that's
were the same,
right. And
remember?
that's why I want a podcast, because I want people with more experience and I want the knowledge to be out there. And that's what I try to also answer in those conversations. And I'm like, it's fine that you don't know, but try to be open to receiving different experience and try different things.
Yeah,
It's
but it's difficult with the society, of course, because they like, you need to choose which university you're going to go tomorrow. And you're like, wait, what? I just came out of the womb. I don't know. So it's hard. And in that case, we're not going to go into politics, but it's the educational system different in different country, for sure. But there is many things that, of course, it's like they do it for the money. They don't do it for the humans.
yeah, I guess it does really depend on where you live, and we'll leave that at that with the state of the world right now.
Mm. But I think also it's part of the process. And look, we have been through kind of the same process, and we are not so fucked up. So They will find eventually. And maybe you need to be lost to find the path.
Yeah.
If you know, that's the things, like when sometimes David is telling me I'm lost, I'm like, of course you are. It's healthy. You need to be lost in order to find where you want to go.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if everything was like, if it was easy, everybody would do it.
I
No?
so somebody told this to me and it really resonated in my life. Where you are at today is temporary. And if you are lost today, it does not mean you'll be lost tomorrow, right? But you have to be present in you being lost and you have to figure out what that means for you
Mm.
to know when you are no longer lost. And you living here, and I guess that conversation I had with that person really kind of helped shift how I think about stuff. But you being here today, wishing for something else tomorrow is not going to make it happen tomorrow. But you learning of like, what do you like about this moment here? What brought you here? What don't you like about this moment? Then when you kind of find what you want, then you'll know that you found it. But if you are never lost, then you'll never know that you've been found. If that makes any sense. They told me,
Yes, you know, it's a very interesting thing that, for example, what is happiness? Yeah,
yes,
it's like, what is happiness? And so I was reading someone that says, happiness is every time I'm not unhappy.
that's not a bad one either.
You know, it's every time it's, and it is related to you, to the what you say. It's every single moment where I'm not unhappy, and it can be a fraction of a second, it can be anything. And to also go to the beginning of your words just now, there is a things that they say in Italy. They say tutto passa, everything pass. This too will pass, because it's not one thing, or everything is impermanent. Joy, life, and even eventually death, we don't know. Because people, you know, like with death, I have this special connection, um, not connection, but reflection on it. And I hear so many people telling so many things. I'm like, how do you know? Who told you? Who came back?
That's a valid point. All right, Marion, I could speak with you all day, but we have to
Yeah,
close it down at some point.
yeah,
I close this podcast the same way with everybody. These are just kind of a speedy questions that are just fun and light, and you can answer with as much or as little details as you want.
yeah.
They're really just for people out there to kind of know you as a polar a little more and like what your preferences are, but they're not so deep. We call it the last grip. Are you
Okay,
ready for the last grip?
I'm ready.
Let's
Go.
do it. Coffee or tea? Favorite song to dance to right now?
Nicolas Jar.
Okay. Most love pull outfit or accessory?
Earring or lipstick? I don't know. Lipstick.
Love a good lipstick. Heels or barefoot?
Barefoot.
One word to describe your relationship with pole.
Wait. Eh?
Spin or static? Choreo or trick?
Dance.
That's a good one. Morning practice or evening practice?
Morning, early morning.
Oh my God, not a lot of people answer morning to their
Invite me to your workshops and I teach at 8 a.m.
love or hate of conditioning.
Door.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell
Discipline.
here we go. Can you tell us two or three people that we should follow, that we should be aware of, that you really enjoy following, or
Free?
two or
Okay.
three?
Mamma mia. Okay. Pole dancer. Okay. So pole dancer, I think we should follow Marlo Fisken would be my first pick for so many reasons. I think the people who knows, and those who don't know, go for it. Fuck free, it's so hard. I love
You
so
know,
many.
but if I don't put a number on it, then
Yeah,
that
I know, because I want to tell all of them.
but that's what I mean. So I'm like, give two or three so people actually go and follow them. Because if you just name 7 or 10,
Yeah,
then
yeah, 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 yeah,
so
yeah.
2 or 3 people will come in.
So, I will say with like at the moment what I will jump on the page more often, but I don't jump on most pole dancer page because I like to see other stuff. So I would say for very cool topic, very like Jordan Kensley.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I like she dig into things, she put out there things that I really love and I like, and sometimes I don't agree, sometimes I agree, but I really admire her as a person, as an artist, and what she has the ovarios to put out there. So I really admire. And who else? Maybe somebody for the dance, for the art now. I mean, for different, like I love Jordan for all those things, but especially for also be outspoken. Marlo for all the knowledge she brings to people, especially like lately, since few years, she's bringing such a profound and very strong knowledge to people. And for the pure like things to look at the art of that person, who I would choose, that's complicated because I love so many people. Mm, 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 mm. Let's see. Give me just a second because it's important. Merde, I don't know.
That's
There
all
is
right.
that there is too many, but no, I need to find one. I need to find one.
We'll come back to it. How about that? I'll ask you the 2 last questions and then we'll come back to it.
Okay.
Do you have a nemesis move in the pole world?
If I have a nemesis move, something that I cannot do.
Not that you can't do. Maybe you can't do it or you just hate it or you just don't like how it looks or
Yeah, oh, many. But one that I don't think it looks nice. It's the machine gun. I don't think it look elegant much. And one nemesis or one move that I don't really do because I saw so many of my friends injured with it is the twisted grip deadlift.
okay.
Yeah, I saw so many people enjoying themselves. And one that is very making me super scared is the cross ankle release. I always cross knee release.
I cross knee release a lot too.
I say it's more elegant.
There we go. And then
Yeah.
I always also enjoy ask, what is your favorite? Okay,
Yes. Is Ilya. He's now living in Poland. He has this brand called Mahed. And he's an amazing artist. I can share with you his Instagram.
mhm.
I saw him perform the other day at the competition, and oh, I was like, thank you. Oh.
Please do share him with me.
And Olga Trifonova also in that same range of humans that I'm like, oh.
And then to finish off the podcast, I want to know what is your favorite pole move or family of move?
Say favorite pole move. I think no matter what, no matter how many people can twist their body in million pieces, a beautiful deep eagle is
It is very gorgeous of a move. I love looking I don't have it. I love looking at people that have it.
It's a move that I feel like a like a teardrop, and beautiful, beautiful move.
Yeah. You know who has a really good eagle that I really enjoy looking? Tara Myers.
Mhm.
People I want to see, and she does it quite often.
Of course, but she has so many beautiful things
Yeah.
among the.
Thank you so much, Marion, for today. This was amazing. I will put Marion's Instagram in the caption below, so make sure you give her a follow and a look at all the beautiful art that you share with us on there
Thank you so much.
for today.
Thank you so, so much.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Between the Poles. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Stay connected with us on social media, and we'll see you next time right here, Between the Poles.